Hope you guys are doing well. I want you guys to know that you are loved. What is up, fellow gym leaders? Journey together is just around the corner. We got about a week and a half from whenever this video comes out. We just had the pre-release, weekend just a little bit ago, and it was awesome. I actually was able to pull the Snorlax or the Super Saiyan Snorlax. I mean, look at this guy. He looks pretty cool. I love the way he looks. It's really awesome. But we're going to get into some of the cards that I think that might do something in Gym Leader Challenge. I might have missed some, but here's a couple things that I've kind of run across. We're going to start with the grass Pokemon, and we have a Lilligant. This isn't like best to worst or worst to last. This is just kind of how I screenshotted as I was looking through. But we have a Lilligant. It has 110 HP. It is a stage 1, but it pretty much is the Lurantis, which gives Sunny Day Lurantis, which kind of gives you a little bit more of attack power for your grass Pokemon. So Sunny Day, your grass and fire Pokemon's attacks do 20 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So if you have 2 of these damage modifier Pokemon out, you're hitting for 40 more damage, which can be kind of fun. But I mean, your grass has already taken up so much space already that you might not want to play double, but it would definitely be fun to play double. All right, so I'm telling you, and I'm not telling you not to play it. I'm also telling you to play it because I think it'd be fun. Anyways, you got Lilligant, and then you have the spinning attack, 60 damage. If you got that guy and the Lurantis out, you're hitting for 100 for 3. Not great, but Lilligant damage modifier, pretty fun. From there, we have Maractus. Maractus is a basic Pokemon, has 110 HP. You might see it in some more control-y style grass decks, but it has the ability Bursting Needle if this Pokemon is in the active spot and is knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon. Put 6 damage counters on your attacking Pokemon. So it just puts damage out if you're knocked out. It's kind of like a bursting balloon type effect, except it stays there and you're putting 6 damage counters out. It's kind of like what's it called? Misdreavus? I don't think it's Misdreavus. Mismagius, yes. That Mismagius, you spread 8 damage counters, I think, if you knock it out from full HP. And then it has a decent cool attack. It has Corner for 1 colorless, 20 damage. During your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon can't retreat. So that's kind of why I thought it might be in a more control-y style deck where you're just trying to kind of trap things in the active. But other than that, I mean, Maractus is just Maractus. It's fine. It's not a terrible card. It's not a great card. Then we have another grass Pokemon. We have a Selgor, 100 HP, so it's just out of level ball range. Gotta hate it when they're just out of level ball range. But it is a stage 1. We have the Ephemeral Poison attack for 1 grass, 1 colorless, 70 damage. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused and poisoned. And then it's pretty much a hit and run effect, so you can play this with Lily's Pokédoll or that Robo Substitute card where you can just kind of put something that they're not going to be able to take prizes with out into the active as you skirt back to the bench. So those hit and run attacks are kind of fun. You might be able to pair this with some, spread damage. I think there's a Hisui and Lilligant that does 20 damage to everything for 2 colorless energy. So you might be able to kind of like weaken things with that and pick them off with the Selgor later. But it's kind of cool, kind of fun. You never know what you can do. Then we have En's Darmanitan. Pretty cool. I do love the, not gym leader Pokemon, trainers Pokemon. I'm glad they're back. I think it's really cool. Kind of nice. They make the kind of cards kind of have a little bit more flair. But it does have 140 HP, has the Backdraft attack for 2 colorless, 30 damage. This attack does 30 damage for each basic energy card in your opponent's discard pile. This wrecked me in pre-release, so I'm sure against decks that use lots of energy, such as grass, such as fire, such as water, sometimes you'll be able to hit some big numbers with the amount of energy cards that are discarded over the time of the game. And then you have the real attack that most people are going to be using this for. 2 fire, 1 colorless is the either Darmanitan attack, 90 damage, discard all energy for this Pokemon. This attack also does 90 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So it's one of those really kind of cool attacks that kind of has a hit 90 to the active, hit 90 to the bench. So it's kind of like Heatmore, except it's just a little bit better with the HP, and it might be a little bit easier to get all the all the energy that you might need on it, especially with a new trainer card that is going to be coming out that we're going to be talking about here in a little bit. It's kind of got a funny name. But other than that, we got Ludicolo. Ludicolo is a stage 2 water Pokemon, so 140 HP. The ability Vital Samba. Each of your water Pokemon in play, or I guess each of your Pokemon in play, gets 40 HP. This doesn't stack like it would matter in GLC anyways. But in water, you're already playing so many stage 2 Pokemon. I mean, you're already playing a lot of the time 2 stage 2. But other than that, I mean, you might not want to muddle your water deck with this guy. But if you want to really go for that tanky style where you're like, okay, I'm not playing that many stage 2, I'm going to throw this in there, make it even harder for people to take out a whale or what have you. Throw this in there, see what happens. Ludicolo gives you 40 extra HP. I mean, what's not cool about that? And then we have the better Wailmer. Wailmer is actually getting better, which is hilarious. Has 130 HP. Doesn't really matter about the retreat or the attack so much. I mean, maybe the attack, but attack only does 6 damage for 3 colorless. But that 130 HP really, I mean, even takes you further out of range, even 120 damage attacks. So it's kind of funny that Wailmer even gets bigger. And then you know what else gets bigger? The whale. The whale himself, Wailord, gets even bigger, 240 whopping HP. If you're a gym leader challenge player, you already know that this guy has been making a huge, big, ginormous, gargantuan splash in the gym leader format in amongst the talks. And for 4 colorless energy, Hydro Pump, 10 plus 50 damage for each water energy you have on this Pokemon. So this is crazy because you got 4 on there, you're doing 210 damage easy. You need to do a little bit more damage, throw another one on, you're doing 260. It's crazy. It's nuts. Yeah, Wailord's going to go all the way. I mean, this is an easy include and just swapping out the old Wailord for this new Wailord. I know the Special Veil is really cool ability, but another 40 HP and bigger damage, you can't argue much about that. But we got the Wailord. From there, we have Iono's Kilowattrel, a little bit of draw power to the Lightning deck with the ability Flash Draw. You must discard a basic Lightning energy card from this Pokemon in order to use the ability. Once during your turn, you may draw cards until you have 6 cards in your hand. So, I mean, this kind of goes well with the Dynamotor effects or anything that kind of just accelerates energy to itself. But I mean, we already have Blitzel's Sprint ability, which discards hand draw 4, kind of helps you draw through the deck quite a bit. And I don't see this being too great, but you can play 2 Kilowattrel because it is a trainer's Pokemon. This is Iono's, and then you have just a regular one. So what's not to try? What's not to like about that? So you might be able to throw this in there somehow and kind of go about a different draw engine and see if that works better than the Blitzel. Then we have Lycanroc, kind of works with a special energy that we'll see later on. Has the ability Entangling Spikes. When you play this card from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may attach up to 2 Spike. You'll only have 1 energy from the discard onto this Pokemon. So it's just kind of like its own energy acceleration. It's got to be timed well. I don't think this is too great, but thought it might be nice to kind of put it on there. We'll talk about Spike Energy here in a little bit, but Grabbing Fangs does 40 plus damage. This attack does 40 more damage for each damage counter on your opponent's active Pokemon. So it's kind of like a wall breaker, depending on if you're playing like a spread deck and you're getting damage out, and stuff like that. You might throw this in there and be able to hit some, big damage on those big Pokemon, such as Snorlax, such as Wailord, such as another big Okidogi, stuff like that. So Lycanroc might not be bad, might not be the best, but it's definitely, give it a try card. Another give it a try card would be Hops Sandaconda in a self-damaging deck. You have Tremor, 30 damage during your opponent's next turn. The defending Pokemon can't retreat. But the main attack that kind of is the The gimmick is one fighting to colorless ground break for 140 damage. This also does 20 damage to each of your benched Pokemon. So it's kind of one of those cards that is self-damaging, but depending on if you have another Pokemon that has synergy with it that does more damage per damage counters on it, and you're kind of getting it set up, it's a little bit more weaker to spread decks. Spread decks will put more damage on there as well, but also if you don't watch how much damage you're putting out, you could also kind of help your opponent KO all of your other Pokemon. So you need to watch out for that. It is 140 HP stage 1. So again, not a great card, but something to just kind of think about. Something that I'm kind of excited for metal is the new Magearna. Has a 90 HP. It is basic, searchable off a level ball as well. The ability auto heal as long as this Pokemon is in your active. So you have to have it in the active. So you might use this with U-turn board or something like that. Whenever you attach an energy card from your hand to one of your Pokemon, heal 90 damage from that Pokemon. So you could play this with like a Magnezone where you're just attach, and you could, heal all the damage as long as the Magearna is in the active. So I don't know how easy that would be able to pull off. It might be easy, it might be hard. I'm not sure. But it does have an attack, just spike draw 2 cards. And it also does damage. So 20 damage, draw 2 cards, not terrible. But also something that might be really helpful in the GOC format for a metal tank decks. And then we have another big boy. We have Hops Snorlax coming in. We got a lot of Hops Pokemon that are just like might be dominating the format soon, but we have Hops Snorlax. 150 HP is a basic ability, Big Belly. The attacks of your Hops Pokemon do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So all your other Hops Pokemon that you can play in colorless have 30 more damage added. With the Big Belly ability, doesn't have to be an active, can still be on the bench. It's awesome and also kind of crazy. Then we have 3 colorless, Dynamic Press. This Pokemon also does 80 damage to itself. When this was first kind of like released, we thought it healed damage or something like that. I remember seeing it, it was translated wrong, and I was like, what? That is absolutely insane. And then we got the real translation, and now we know it damaged itself. So it kind of has a little balance, but still it's kind of crazy, a force to be reckoned with there. We got Noivern, not a Hops Pokemon. I don't even think it needs to be here, but I thought it was cool. I like the Bat Dragon, the ability turning Echo. If you and your opponent have the same number of cards in your hands, ignore all energy. And this Pokemon's Panic Howl attack cost. So Panic Howl is 110 damage. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused for 3 colorless. Might be fun to play, and you have all these different ways to manipulate your own hand. You got Squovit, you got Bibarel, you got Cinccino, you got all these different ways that you can kind of manipulate your hands. So it might work well or easier than you think to kind of get going. So we got Noivern, and we have Hops Dubwool. It has the ability, let's talk about the HP. 120 HP, stage 1, ability Challenge Horn. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may switch in one of your opponent's bench Pokemon to the active spot. So it's a free boss. That's very easy to kind of find in a way. So really kind of cool. Headbutt, a damage attack, 80 damage for 3 colorless. But with Hops Snorlax out, you're doing 110. And if you have what we are going to talk about later, it's 140. And then if you have the stadium, we'll talk about that, but damage stacks up for the Hops Pokemon. Then we have Hops Cramorant, another really force to be reckoned with in pre-release alone. Fickle Spit, 120 damage if your opponent doesn't have exactly 3 or 4 prize cards remaining. This attack does nothing. So if your opponent has 3 or 4 prize cards remaining, you're hitting 120 damage for 1 energy, and that we're not even talking about the tool. So this is really kind of a incredible card to have mid-game. Very easy to get energy on there. It's kind of nuts. After that, we got another Hops card, Hops Bag. Search your deck for up to 2 basic Hops Pokemon. You might just throw this in there if you're really going head first into the Hops engine, or not engine, but like Hops Pokemon route. Hops bag might help you find those basic Hops Pokemon easier. We got Hops Choice Band. This is one of the most important parts, probably the most overpowered card in the set for Gym Leader Challenge. When the Hops Pokemon this card is attached to uses an attack, that attack costs 1 colorless energy less and does 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So that's kind of insane. Very easy to kind of get this combo off on the first turn going second. So we're going to see how long this lasts, if it lasts at all, or if it just continues going. We won't know. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I know people have a lot of strong opinions about this card, so let me know. And then we have a Stadium Levencia. Once during each player's turn, that player may put up the 2 basic lightning energy cards from their discard pile to their hand. This is awesome as well. It doesn't synergize with Dynamotor very well because you need it in the discard pile to accelerate. But other than that, it kind of opens up the archetype further for like metal, not a metal zone, but like a lightning zone list. So very cool to have this stadium come out for lightning. Then we have Ends PP Up. We're not going to talk about that. Attach a basic energy card from your discard pile to one of your Ends benched Pokemon. Good for Ends Darmanitan, not so good for any other Ends Pokemon unless more Ends Pokemon get better. Then we have Postwick. This is another Hops card. The attack of your Hops Pokemon, both yours and your opponent's, do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So again, another damage modifier for the Hops Pokemon to stack up to big attacks. Then we have a reciprocating ticket. After counting your prize cards, shuffle them and put them on the bottom of your deck. Then take that many cards from the top of your deck and put them face down as your prize cards. So this is just a better Rotom decks. So if you play Rotom decks, you're playing reciprocating ticket. We got Ruffian, which I kind of found a little helpful in pre-release. You might be better off playing that support that sends things to the lost zone. I cannot remember its name right now. Faba. It's Faba. But this is Ruffian. Choose one of your opponent's Pokemon, discard a Pokemon tool and a special energy from that Pokemon. So you're discarding, not putting into the lost zone, but it lets you do both. Ruffian is kind of cool. Kind of liked it in pre-release. Got rid of that Hops Choice Band. Then Spike Energy, which is going to be messing with, was it Lycanroc earlier? While attached to a Pokemon, this card provides 1 colorless energy. If the Pokemon this card is attached to is in the active spot and is damaged by an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, put 2 damage counters from the opponent onto the attacking Pokemon. So it just kind of puts extra damage counters out there and a little bit of energy acceleration. But other than that, that is all the cards that I kind of found in the list that I thought were going to be really interesting. Other than that, let me know down in the comments what you thought about this list. Is something I missed? Is something that you're looking forward to a lot? You know, other than that, I mean, I think I said other than that 4 times, that one included. Anyways, remember to stay thankful.